That was Janet Jackson. That's the way love goes. It is rich to be lectured by a bunch of people telling you about peaceful protests when they did not recognize them on January 6th. It is also rich for a leader who fomented an insurrection to now want to quell one. It is interesting. The one thing, I've lived in California my entire life, and sidebar, a lot of people dislike California. Every time I turn around, it's this California hate. Let's have a real conversation. If it were not for the state of California, the United States of America would be little more than Venezuela. Oh, everybody's moving out of California. They had 250,000 people just this year alone move in. If any state experienced a 250,000 person growth spurt, we hear about it all the time. They don't make anything in California. 14%, the largest percent, 14% of the nation's manufacturing is in California. 60% of the produce consumed in the United States of America comes from California. At one point, one out of every 4 jobs that were created in the United States of America comes from California. California has more registered Republicans than most states that are MAGA states, most of them. And this notion that he had to act, that Trump had to act, he wanted this fight. He's spoiled for this fight. I think that if he decides that he's going to withhold grants, California should withhold its money too, because it takes more, it gives more money than it takes. You might not like California, Mississippi, but you like your lights on. You like your little accoutrements. California pays for a lot of that. It is the 4th largest economy in the world, and without it, you would lose economic power. That's the way that goes. It is the largest state in the union. It has a little more, about 14% of this nation's population. So you might like it. Whether you like it or not is the issue. Is not the issue. You're setting a precedent where a president can do the kind of things he's doing in California everywhere. He will not always be president. What if it's a progressive president and he wants to do what he wants to do, the same, a version of this thing to Texas? You sending National Guards that fast? It took you hours before you even mentioned anything about what was going on in January 6th. You didn't know that? You want to arrest you want to arrest people wearing masks? The people wearing masks are doing the arresting. I understand if you are going to use immigration as a cudgel to knock stuff down, okay, that's fine. You fomented this fight. You were spoiling for this fight. You sent the National Guard to Los Angeles. Let me tell you something. The one thing, I've lived in California, Los Angeles specifically, my entire life. The one thing the LAPD doesn't need is help putting down a riot. Some of the most deadly riots in the country's history has happened in Los Angeles. And you know what they very rarely had to do? Call in the National Guard. The Los Angeles Police Department, by far, is the most deadly police department on the face of the earth. You can't turn on the news when they riot without somebody getting shot with a rubber bullet. They were so elite a police department that the Israelis used to train with them under Daryl Gates. They know how to kill and put a riot down. They don't need no help with their black and brown problem. They got it covered. You jumped the gun, and you wanted to. You wanted that fight. But you're doing things that are unprecedented. A president hasn't done what you did. And the last time they did it was George Wallace in Alabama. It was Lyndon Johnson. And it was when they were desegregating schools. And he called in the National Guard because the governor at that time refused to let a federal order happen. Lyndon Baines Johnson sent in the National Guard to stop a racist. Donald Trump sent the National Guard to California because he is one. That's a little note from the GED section. You got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.
Just remember, my kingers, under God's eyes, we all equal. We all bleed red. That's why I created that word kinga, which means we all people are righteous kings like God.
Roger. Tell these
Kingers.
subscribe to the Prophet channel.
I see what kind of good person you were. Boom, that was it.